Just a little video to show an old bushman's trick to handle a stake and a horse. This country is very thick with gidgee scrubs, and the other night we had a little bit of rain, and the horses, as you know, like to go for a gallop after the rain stops. But in this country, the youngsters can stake themselves bad in the thick scrubs that we have here. And this one come up the other day with lame, and I don't know if it shows up on camera, but just here she stabbed herself. Sometimes with a horse that stabs itself like that, it can just be a stab wound that stays sore for a little bit and then heals up, but you'll always tell if it's a piece of wood still in there, because it often stays fairly puffy looking and they will stay lame. So anyway, what you can do, this is a really old thing that all the bushmen used to do in the old days. Get a sharp knife and shave the hair away, which I've already done, and if you can keep some strychnine on hand, you can still get it. It's very hard to get, but some pharmaceutical places like chemists will get it for you. And keep a bit of strychnine on hand. You need a permit for it in Queensland, of course, and not every chemist will get it for you, but if you ask around at the chemist, they can get it. It's a bit expensive, about $140 a bottle. This is a really old bottle that we keep topping up, but get some strychnine. Obviously do this with no dogs around, because as you know, dogs love to get around a stinking horse's foot and lick things, and you will be careful with this. Don't do it around your kids and things. And hose that wound, hose it down, get a hose and hose that out, clean it up as best you can, and then just get a stick like that and get some strychnine on the end of it. The strychnine nowadays, this is an old bottle and it's still in the real old form, the pink stuff. The newer strychnine is more in a flake. But anyway, it'll do the same job. But the idea is put some strychnine in that wound, push it in and try to get it in as deep as you can. Obviously these wounds are fairly sore, so they don't tend to like you to push it in too far, but try and get it in as deep as you can and keep packing it in there. And just keep packing it in there, and it's a bit hard to do this without holding the foot properly, but the idea is get that stuff to go into the wound deep, and what it'll do is it'll eat the flesh. It'll keep it clean, no infection will get in there, no bad infection will get in there, but it'll keep it clean, and what it'll do is it'll eat the flesh in a very slow manner. You need to do this every day until that stick comes out. It's not really a drawing ointment that you're making, it just opens the flesh up around that's holding the stick in there. And when I say it eat the flesh, it's not savage or anything. They don't necessarily feel that it's painful all day or anything like that, but it'll just open the flesh up, puff it up enough, and it'll open the hole up enough to, because this stick is in deep, I can't see the end of it. It's right in there, and there's all sorts of drawing ointments and things that you can buy, but this old bushman's way from many years ago works like a charm. You just push that stuff and keep kneading it in there, And after a few days, you'll find the end of the stick. Sometimes there's more than one in there, sometimes it's broken off in there. But you'll tell when it's all out because the horse is not lame anymore. But that's the idea. Obviously, like I said before, don't do this. Put your dogs away when you do this. Don't do it with a family pet hanging around or a good working dog or something, because they will get around and lick this stuff. And obviously you've got to keep your strychnine by law in safe keeping, and you've got to have a permit to hold it. But if you've got some strychnine or can get hold of some, and you occasionally get a horse that's staked like this and you're nowhere near a vet, we're hundreds and hundreds of miles away from vets here, this is a good port of call. It's a bit sore, girl, eh? But yeah, just do that. Do it once a day until that wound's nice and open. It won't bleed, but it'll just puff that wound up, and it'll cause it'll help that stick draw itself out. It'll come out on its own eventually, and when you can get hold of it with a tip of your pocket knife or a pair of tweezers or something, you can pull it out then. But that's in really deep on this little filly, and it'll cripple her if I don't get it out. So strychnine is something that'll work as good or better than most drawing ointments we've found. Just don't put a bandage on this now. Don't wrap that. Leave that open. When I stop recording, I'll put that in further yet, but you get the general idea. Just some sort of a stick, matchstick is a good thing. Wet the end of it, spit on it or something, bit of saliva, so that the strychnine sticks to it, and poke it in there. Get as much into it as you can, leave it. Tomorrow morning do it the same thing, or tomorrow whenever you get a chance, do the same thing. Let it do its job, and eventually that stick will come out.